Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Wrath of the Righteous with me, Bring It On. We're all buffed up and ready to take our city back. There's no loot to be found here in Drezen, as we discovered last episode, so we will be meticulous in our securing of the city. Look, it's the commander. His eye. He's back. Now we're sure to hold Drezen. Oh, hey, don't run off. You're gonna get slaughtered.
Yet another obstacle.
Oh, Nenio, don't spam weird. We can hold on to that till we need it. You can spam this, though.
Be gone, you fiend!
Leather armor of greater electricity resistance +5. This +5 leather armor grants its wearer resistance to electricity 30. Yay. What I've always wanted. Oh, the Crusaders have better equipment now. Instead of just cold iron stuff, they actually have +1 gear. So we can go up here. I assume we can climb up top, can't we? I know we can ring the bell. Well, they're already dead. Alright, let's go ahead and quick save. We got a chunk of experience for it.
I know the way.
Can we go back that way? We came out of the barracks. No, it's blocked off. I do want to get back over here and make sure there's not a perception check back there. Just to be safe.
Follow my lead.
Alright, now I just need to find a merchant. They said the one-eyed devil is in the tavern. Or the inn. One of those two buildings. There's two of them in Drezen. Maybe his stock is refreshed. Quick, run! That was a weird delay. Ready to pay for your sins. I'm Staunton Vane. I have risen from the grave to exact my revenge on everyone who brought me to ruin. Yeah, if you say so, man.
This obstacle.
Alright, y'all can slow it down a bit. There you go. The dead dwarf, still shackled in decaying armor, is writhing on the ground. I've lost. Again. But that won't save you. I rose to claim my revenge once. I will rise again. Why didn't you let me kill her? That monster. She's to blame for all the suffering I've endured. Death hasn't changed you one bit. You're still blaming someone else for all your troubles. Monago, Queen Galfrey, Iomedae, fate, the weather, the position of the celestial bodies. Literally anyone or anything but yourself. Staunton, I never thought I'd see you again. I cannot stay in my grave, so I rose to reap a harvest of blood, and I did. I have killed many crusaders and demons, and I will kill again. You think you can destroy me? I am vengeance. I am retribution. Who did you want to exact your revenge on? The dead man answers fervently, with a spark of insanity in his voice. On her, the temptress and deceptress who is the reason for all my suffering. Monago is her name, and I have vowed to shed her blood. And on you, my murderer, and on the crusaders who treated me like an animal. On everyone. On the whole world for turning my life into an endless agony. Poor soul. You've suffered so much in life, you cannot find peace even in death. Shaking his head sorrowfully, the Quake places his hand over the holy symbol of his goddess. You've done many wicked things. Even you do not deserve eternal torment. We will help you. How did you come back to life without a necromancer's help? The dead man's voice burns with malice. My hatred raised me from the grave. I was treated unjustly, and I intend to repay everyone who had a hand in it. I was an honorable knight, but you, all of you, dragged my name through the mud. You will pay. You'll pay dearly for what you've done. It's time to decide your fate. The dead man nods wearily. I have suffered for far too long. Now I stand ready to accept your sentence. Yoga 3. Give Staunton the coup de grace. Knight Staunton Vane, you're relieved of your duty. Rest in peace. The bloody fog dissipates from Staunton's eyes, and he says in a surprisingly calm and clear voice, "Thank you. Know that I never wanted such a fate." Oh, he has the same gear from before. Well, if you wanted 2 soul shears, you could have it. That's more summons on the field, potentially.
That is not far.
You have 2 people using glaives in your party. Alright, got a robe of fire. Grants a +2 DC bonus to fire spells. Probably worth giving to Ember, considering how I have her currently built.
I'll go ahead.
Oh, here's the wardstone. So why didn't the wardstone? Looks like it's in pretty rough shape. That's probably why. So there's another way. Just a stage. Oh, darn camera. Alright, they're on their own for a second. I'm not done exploring over here.
Follow my lead.
I'm glad I was useful to you.
Did we find trouble?
Oh, found the prison. This is where Hylor is holding out.
Let's try this way.
You crushed mongrel.
Into the fray!
The body of a fallen crusader who heroically sacrificed his life for Galarian.
As it should be.
I was worried about corruption. Well, if I needed to rest, I mean, we're just getting started. Let's clear everything else out before we enter any of the buildings. Hopefully that doesn't accidentally trigger something that I can't come back from. I think both High Lore and the One-Eyed Devil are part of the
I know
main
what to
quest,
do.
so...
I will defend my dream.
So much damage.
This will hurt. A calculated risk.
It's really hard to put the Cavalier down and play a different class in future playthroughs. He does so much damage. Alright.
I finished here. Is there more?
I'll go ahead.
Alright, into the Half-Measure Tavern. The One-Eyed Tiefling wipes the sweat off his forehead. Don't be scared, lads. We'll get through this. The walls are sturdy here. Reinforcements will come. You'll see. He notices you and freezes, opening and closing his mouth silently, like a fish. It's been a while. Tiefling slaps his knee in delight. Commander, the wait is over. I'm not dreaming. I can't believe it. Pi gives you a friendly wave from his perch on the counter, just like in the good old days. Commander, so good to see you. We had a grand old time at your funeral feast. We'll have an even better time at your homecoming party. Later, of course. After we fight off this scum. Yaker nods at you. Commander, I'm glad to see you. Shame the half-measure has suffered so much damage. The Tiefling looks around. You call this damage? It's only a little messy. We'll fight off the demons first, and then we'll renovate this place so it's even better than it was before. I'm already planning it to order a new counter. And I guess I'll renovate the ceiling as well, since I'm doing all the rest. Maybe I should change the floor too. This place looks better now than it did in peaceful times. It's more useful at least. That reminds me, I got you something. A book for you to write all your complaints down in. A nice black cover and everything. You can scribble down all your criticisms of how useless this place is in there. At least then we won't have to listen to them. But I do have another idea. I could keep a barrel of birch rods under the counter just for you. That's more your kind of entertainment, isn't it, Yaker? The reckoning is a sacred ritual, not some joke. Time to move. Yes, Commander. The Tiefling claps his hands. Fall back, lads. We got nothing more to do here. It's odd that the Tiefling, the merchant, was in charge of the defense instead of Yaker. Who is I guess he's not a full-fledged Hell Knight. Hell Knight aspirant. A lot of resources for the artifacts that the Storyteller can craft, so we might be able to finish those up.
I know the way.
Hopefully. I don't want to rest. I do want to click on this though and see what it... It doesn't have the rest symbol. It has a gear icon. Oh, that's right. We haven't seen one of those in a while. Nope, we don't need to rest. Not yet.
Follow my lead.
Alright, let's go save Hylor as well. Also give him the Diary of the Spinner of Nightmares.
As it should be. I am prepared.
However, the Pathfinder salutes you. Commander, you've risen from the dead after all. Not a minute too soon. I suppose that means I owe Nivea money now. I've never been so happy to lose a bet in my entire life. You bet that I wouldn't come back. Why? Aloy looks at you guiltily and shrugs. Truth be told, Commander, I'm a practical man. I never count on miracles. That doesn't mean I'm not happy to see you. On the contrary, I suppose a miracle you don't expect brings you the most joy, especially if it saves you from certain death. Where did the prisoners go? The Queen ordered that some be executed, and the ones who aren't rotten to the core be given a second chance. Now they serve the Queen and the condemned, atoning for their mistakes, so to speak. Alright, time to move. Right you are, Commander. It's time for drastic measures. Alright, so I guess we'll turn in that quest to him back at the temple. So probably swing back to the temple before we go save the Storyteller. I'll have to check all the cells real fast.
That is not far.
I get a ton of those resources.
I'll go ahead.
Feels pretty good. I was getting concerned that I missed a whole bunch of stuff, because I know there's been a couple things that I've missed. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to make all the artifacts or relics, whatever they're called. Alright, let's go back to the temple, see if we can speak to Hylor. And then we will go after the Storyteller. Assuming there will be a boss fight in the center here. Ow. Well, that's the dragon. Like Ivu's walk, it's just that it's a jaunt. She's in no hurry, just enjoying herself as she walks through this very bloody city.
Follow my lead.
Alright, so I guess they don't show up yet until we've secured everything. That's fine. So this way's blocked off, so we only have one way to get up there. It looks like you can go up this way.
No mistakes.
We'll probably explore that after we clear out the center.
Do not fear.
Well, this is a dead end anyway. Alright, smite him.
This should do it.
Oh, we're getting attacked from behind.
The light take you.
That would do it. Oh, and we leveled up. I knew we were close. I didn't think we were going to get it that soon. Alright, well, let's go ahead and grab the Baylor's loot. The longsword plus one. That's so disappointing. It's a Baylor. He should at least have a +2. I mean, the Incubi have +3 weapons, so it's just a little weird that he only has a +1. Alright, so we get a bonus feat for the Gendarme, a mobility and persuasion. Leaving finish. So if you make a melee attack and your target drops to 0 or fewer hit points as a result of your attack, you make another melee attack using your highest base attack bonus against another opponent within reach. You can make only one extra attack per round with this feat. But at level 19, because I forgot he got this bonus feat here. At level 19 we get improved cleaving finish, which means this can proc as many times as you land killing blows in a round. It's not limited. That's really cool. Alright, Sela gets a new Mercy. Trickery, Knowledge World, and Perception. Let's do Blinded. That comes up every now and then. Alright, Social. Nothing fancy. Low religion, perception, and persuasion. Nenio, same thing. Knowledge Arcana, Knowledge World, Lower Nature, Low Religion, and use Magic Device. Icy Prison Mass is a fantastic spell. Alright, land gets a Key Power and Zen Archer bonus feat. Athletics, Mobility, and Perception. I guess Wholeness of Body. By spending 2 points from his Key Pool as a standard action, the monk can heal a number of hit points of damage equal to his monk level. So 18. And then here, Combat Mobility, I guess. None of these are recommended because we already have improved critical for the longbow. Mini shot, rapid shot do not work with flurry of blows with the monk. Combat mobility. You can easily move through a dangerous melee. You get a +4 dodge bonus to armor class against attacks of opportunity caused when you move out of or within a threatened area. A condition that makes you lose your dexterity bonus to armor class, if any, also makes you lose dodge bonuses. Dodge bonuses stack with each other, unlike most types of bonuses. And Arushalai gets a combat style feat. Ability, Trickery, Stealth, Knowledge Arcana, Perception, Persuasion. I guess Point Blank Master. Wait, does she not? Does she already have that? She does. Alright, that's not going to work. In that case, we will get... all of these are pretty good, honestly. Well, these three in particular. I think that was good toughness. Which we already know what it does, just gives you some extra health. Not a huge deal. And then Bucephalus also leveled up. Athletics and mobility. Sweet. That's right. This is a dead end. We do have to go this way.
Ready for anything.
So that means the rest of my party have 2 levels to go through and a mythic rank once we get them all back in Drezen.
I'll go ahead.
My little force is closed off.
I know the way.
It's either us or them.
Fall!
Oh, wow. Oh, is that me taking that damage? Yes, it was. It was my... Why wasn't Bucephalus taking the hits?
I will bring down the divine wrath!
Alright, that's fine. We'll just use some scrolls to heal up real fast. When I get the chance, I should probably buy a few of these. We're running a little low.
I finished here. Is there more?
Alright, Quicken's useful. I'll probably give that to Nenio instead of whatever she currently has equipped. Greater Wand of Invisibility. What does she have equipped? Bolster. We don't need that right now. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do this. I keep forgetting to use them, but
Follow my lead.
maybe I won't at some point. Let's go ahead and quick save. What's up, Hal? How you been? A familiar red-haired healer brushes some ash from his sleeve, shakes his head as he inspects a pile of charred demon corpses. They were too stubborn to retreat. Their determination could have helped them in life, but instead, it has only led to their untimely deaths. I regret having to kill them. Who are you again? The man smiles. There's a golden gleam in his hazel eyes. Alasaliax, a gold dragon. You heeded my advice and spared a young servant of Baphomet instead of killing him. We parted ways, but I promised that we'd meet again, and here I am. I have to say, the spirit of the dragon is still strong within you. News of your heroic deeds have spread far and wide. People call you the hope of Mendev, and the hero of the Crusades. Many of them refuse to believe you were dead. They clearly hold you in great esteem. What are you doing here? I debated for a long time whether or not to interfere in Drezen's affairs. However, the words of the loyal warriors who remained behind to defend the fortress touched my heart. I was persuaded to get involved, and not too soon, it seems. Alasiliax gestures towards the demon corpses nearby. What happened to the cultist I spared? I heard that he became a healer. I do not know if he still worships Baphomet, but even if he does, I'm certain that he will bring more good into the world than evil. Alasiliax smiles. You should be proud of yourself. You chose to spare him. Thanks to your decision, the world now has another caretaker of the afflicted. Now come with me. You can help me drive away the demons. You're not leading a large force against the demons, and that leads me to believe that you do not want to attract attention. And a gold dragon entering the fray is something that attracts a good deal of attention. Trust me. Furthermore, Alasiliax regards you intently. I wish to see for myself that what you have achieved over the years. I want to observe how the dragon spirit manifests within you. Alright, I have to go. Farewell, Commander. This will be a difficult fight. If you look within yourself, you'll find that your spirit, the spirit of a dragon, cannot be defeated. If you feel the desire to follow Tarendalev's example, come and meet me in Drezen after the battle. And if you do not, well, this will be our last meeting.
You're
We
irrelevant.
won't fall here. I swear it.
This spell doesn't work like that.
You won't survive me.
I like he was tougher than the last Baylor that we fought. Granted, I also waited longer to smite him than I should have.
The world has suffered enough.
Alright, let's quick save and enter the courtyard. It tells me there's going to be a boss fight here. If not, well, that's fine too. Oh, there's not.
As it should be.
Okay, well. It seemed like a good place for a boss fight.
That is not far.
First things first, I need to go check on my bedroom.
I'm glad I was useful to you.
I'll go ahead.
The Storyteller turns to you calmly. Long months have passed, Commander. Even while you were away on the other plane, I could hear your brave heart beating. That sound never stopped for a second. Gideon laughs. You're a lively one, Grandpa Elf. always finding yourself in the most dangerous spots. But I'm still glad to see you, although you'd be safer tucked up by a fire somewhere. How have things been these past 6 months? The Queen showed us nothing but respect and fair treatment. After she decided to proceed with the crusade, many of us chose to stay with the unit ordered to protect the Wardstone until your return. It was an easier decision for me than for others. I'd encountered you in the Abyss and knew you were alive, but not everyone believed me. And then yesterday, I had a vision. I was leafing through the pages that you had collected for me, and suddenly I saw the future. Not the future clamoring to be told by the page in my hand, but your future. Future of the person who first brought that page to me. In my vision, you returned from the Abyss marked by new powers that wound around you like snakes. Your voice made the earth tremble. People and demons dropped to their knees. Amade herself extended you a helping hand. But the only thing you were concerned with was the whereabouts of the banner that Queen Galfrey had taken with her. The storyteller shakes his head. I know what I saw is difficult to believe, but I am in the habit of trusting my visions. So I hurried to the Citadel to lay my hands on some of Queen Galfrey's possessions and try to discern where she went, where your banner is now. You know where the Queen went. It wasn't easy. I see the Queen's future and her past as if looking through shattered glass. Multiple visions come one after another, distorting the picture. The Queen is in mortal danger, at the crossroads of her fate, and her every step may prove fatal. But I did not give up, and fortune smiled upon me. I touched her goblet and learned where she was, leading her army. Her Majesty decided to march for eyes. A bold move, one worthy of a queen who is not accustomed to hiding. This is an utterly anti-scientific method of acquiring information. That's what makes it so interesting. I have to conduct a series of experiments involving you, to establish how you react to various objects, identify patterns in the amount of information that you receive from them. The storyteller smiles. You've already said that, in exactly those words. You even conducted your experiments. You handed me some shards to hold. Once you brought a huge club, another time you gave me a live hedgehog. Then you said that the experiment was a failure, and immediately forgot all about it. Really? Well, if I decided to forget all about it, that must mean I didn't learn anything of interest. I'll remember this time either. Nenio winks and looks around. So, what were we talking about? Eyes. The place sounds familiar. You remind me of the details. Oh, Eyes. The city that hangs over the Abyss. It was once the citadel of legendary rulers, the capital of Sarkoris. But now demons are tearing it apart, making a mockery of its former glory. 2/3 of its magnificent streets and proud towers have collapsed into the world wound. But the city still holds on, just as Sarkoris holds on, defeated, but refusing to die. Well, to arms. It's time for the battle. It's time for the final battle for Drezen. The storyteller nods. Yes, your arrival has changed everything. Attacked by 2 armies, we felt like a dilapidated palisade on the verge of being swept away by a giant wave. But with your return, we have become an indestructible wall that will withstand any blow. There's one more thing. The storyteller pauses for a while. In the shattered fragments that form her fate, I can sense your presence, and I'm convinced that the Queen could sense it too. No one can say what your next encounter will lead to, but there's one thing I know for certain. Queen Galfrey's fate and yours are tightly intertwined. Perhaps that is what made the Queen write this letter to you. After I touched her goblet, I saw her hiding it in a secret compartment in the wall, and I managed to find it. I do not know what it says, but I can sense the emotions that were tearing the Queen apart while she wrote it. The storyteller ponders for a moment. I think I'll be able to tell you about the feelings she was experiencing in that moment. If you wish, you can come to me later, when everything has settled down, and bring this letter with you. We'll look into the past of this item together. Oh no, there are too many of them. This is useless. We're done for. We have a Triceratops. I wouldn't be discouraged yet. Orin Gofta. A huge, oily Nafeshni is waiting for you with his arms folded. Here comes the commander's... here comes the commander, kids. Ha ha ha. So, Commander, you like what you see? You've arrived just in time to hear your friends screaming for help. They trusted you. Look what's happened to them. Do you actually think you can rescue them? Ha. Who do you think you are? You should have angered our master, mortal. He'll take away everything you have, your mind and your flesh included. You belong to him now. Who sent this army here, you beast? We also have our master Baphomet, Lord of the Labyrinth. He promised us Drezen, and your skin is a doormat. Merilith adds with a smug grin. You only get Drezen, Orangofta. The skin is mine, and mine only. You'll look splendid in my chambers in the ineluctable prison. I'll do what that idiot Manago failed to accomplish. I'll destroy the wardstone as you watch, little commander, and I'll admire the despair frozen in your face forever. Fighters of Drezen, don't give up. Haha, you really believe they can hear you? All your pathetic attempts to win turn to ashes. Don't you see? And this is the great hero everyone is so afraid of. Come on, show us what you've got. Earn the right to become my plaything, or die alone and forgotten in an unmarked cell. What are you waiting for, huh? Can you hear them screaming? Why aren't you rushing to help them? Alright, you can't. You're just a mortal insect that bit off more than it could chew. You're nobody. Alright. Finally got the Legend Mythic path. Yes, I am mortal. I'm the commander of the 5th Crusade. This is my city, my people, and my destiny. The demon seems to want to say something else, and then just waves its huge claw. Whatever. Let's see how you taste, Commander. Commander! For the commander! Oh. I didn't actually do anything. I haven't seen an actual cutscene in a while. An incredible silence suddenly descends over the city. It is broken by the solemn sound of fanfares that seem to come from far away, everywhere and nowhere all at once. All eyes are turned to the huge stained glass window of the city's main cathedral. It begins to glow with a soft light, and in the next breath, a lone figure steps out of the glass onto the cobblestones of Drezen.
Knight Commander, at last we meet.
There's no mistaking her. Iomedae, the goddess who has deigned to descend to the world of mortals. The companions shield their faces, unable to withstand her radiance. The surviving demons quiver. Townsfolk fall to their knees. But the deity's eyes are on you, and you alone. I greet you, Light of the Sword.
And I greet you, Knight Commander. I suppose you're asking yourself why I am here. Gods must not interfere directly in the affairs of mortals. But what is happening here, in the World Wound, is no longer the concern of mortals alone. Goodness and the light of hope are not unknown to you, but you mix them with recklessness. And the power that feeds this recklessness is dangerous. I have seen what happened here in Drezen. Despite everything that you have endured, despite the changes you underwent in the Abyss, you relied on your humanity, and you won without losing it. I salute you. I wish to stop the forces of evil and defend Golarion, both from Daskari's violent rage and from Nocticula's insidiousness. But that is not my only goal. I have come here to restore justice, for justice is the birthright of all. That's why I hail you as a hero who has triumphed over the demons many times. At the same time, I grieve for you, as for a soul that is caught in a web of demonic deceit and villainy.
Maybe I did acquire my powers from a dubious source, but I follow my own path.
You may think so, but alas, this is not true. It can be, however, if you accept my help. In that moment, when my poor herald was being torn apart by monsters, he found the strength to send me a message about what he had learned in the Abyss. You were in Illusionera, where you spoke with the Lady in Shadow and the Architect of the World Wound. They confessed what they had done to you, but they did not reveal the whole truth. Both you and this unfortunate world will have to pay dearly for the power that they so generously bestowed upon you. But all is not yet lost. That is why I have come.
Walls of Drezen shake again. With a ringing laugh, a black shadow appears before the shining goddess, an articulate in the flesh. Standing beside her is a Rilu Vorlash, who stares at the goddess with ice-cold rage in her eyes.
Who here has been taking my name in vain? Ah, it's you, the Inheritor. What's this? Our worst fears have come to pass. The gods are flocking to Galarian. This merry little tinderbox could ignite at any moment, reducing the material plane to dust.
Succubus makes Amade's title sound like an elegant insult.
I did not come here to fight.
Please, ladies, don't fight over me. I'm already a taken man.
Oh, really? I didn't realize you were good for anything else. Forgive me, that was unfair of me. Judging by your successes over the last 100 years, fighting is not your forte. After all, the wound is still there, as far as I know. So why are you here? If you have come to meddle in my affairs, don't expect me simply to stand aside.
Articulate smirks. This party's really getting started now. Who'll be next to arrive? Aiden Kalian, perhaps?
The two of us will be more than enough. Listen to what I have to tell you. If she wishes to be present for this conversation, so much the better.
Oh cool, I don't think we saw the back of her wings previously.
Do you hear me, Nocticula? You and your servant are under no obligation to leave. I have come here to shed the light of truth. Let us see if you both can withstand its merciless radiance. I cannot change the flow of mortal history by force. After all, the world wound is their doing, although committed at the behest of the Abyss. But sometimes force is unnecessary, and truthful words are all it takes.
The goddess who was mortal not so long ago is eager to judge us for our sins now. My sin, to be precise. What lies behind your eagerness, proud Iomade? Righteous wrath, or perhaps fear? Watch out. A simple mortal woman has learned how to grant powers to others. Powers which are beyond the wildest dreams of many Imperial lords. This must be stopped, forbidden, taken away immediately. After all, what need will we have for all these arrogant gods once we become their equals?
Rilu smiles coldly.
Silence. It's impolite to interrupt your elders. But you know, Inheritor, she does have a point. What are you going to do now? Break my weapon, which has made so many victories possible, and only because he received that weapon from my profane hands, and the entire affair must therefore be profane also? What real reasons do you have? Save those born of your envy, your capriciousness, and your suspicions?
Articulate's cold gaze makes Rilu press her lips into a thin line.
My reasons are quite real, as you well know. That is why you appeared here in such haste, is it not? You have woven a delicate lace of half-truths, Nocticula. From you and your servant, the Knight Commander has learned that he is bound to the world wound, that he is slowly dying because of its influence, and that he is yet capable of closing it. But you withheld a crucial piece of information. You never told him that closing the wound won't save him from death. For this lock will destroy the key to which it is bound, the one who closes the world wound, will die along with it.
That is true. I tried to tell you back in Illusionera, but I was not allowed to. It is an unavoidable consequence of this process. To stitch two planes together as I have stitched Galarian and the Abyss, the soul of a mortal must be woven with the essence of the Abyss. To undo this seam, the original soul, the key, must be ripped apart. No one could survive such a process.
Rilu's voice sounds almost indifferent. She doesn't look at the fierce goddess. Her eyes are glued to you. What if I reject this power?
You will live.
You will lose everything that makes life worth living.
You will spoil a brilliant endeavor and destroy the lives of thousands of mortals who will be devoured by the legions of demons coming from the Abyss. Aside from that, you won't do anything extraordinary at all.
Articula, are you trying to hide this from me?
Trying, you say? I successfully hid the truth from you for as long as I deemed necessary. Are you expecting me to explain myself? My goal is to close the world wound, not to grant you a happily ever after.
It even smiles and shrugs. What if I'm willing to sacrifice my life if it means closing the world wound?
Oh, how noble! For a brief moment, I even felt some regret that we demons are incapable of such lovely things. You see now, Inheritor? My little protege has more nobility in him than you expected. Shame on you.
Articula wags her slim finger at Iomade.
This nobility is exactly why I came here. To help the Knight Commander learn the truth, and to show him that he has been used. Besides, I do not believe that you have been acting for selfless reasons, Lady in Shadow. Honesty and nobility have never counted among your virtues. You own the main source of Nahindrian crystals, and your servant Arilu has learned how to break the laws of the universe with their help. Can it be that the ruler of darkness and mistress of assassins has not conceived a way to use this formidable gift for her own benefit?
Accusations, suspicions, all completely hollow, just like your bright-eyed pretty little head. It's a pity you inherited Eridan's sword, but not his sharp mind. I have but one goal now. To stop the armies of that lecherous billygoat and that gluttonous bug from strutting around my domain as if it were their own. I don't give a fig whether it will help mortals or hurt them. If the enemy of your enemy makes you a mutually beneficial proposition, you would have to be a complete idiot to say no.
Articula rolls her eyes warily. A little silly selecting this option now. I should have selected this at the beginning, because this has kind of been answered at this point. In other words, I'll die if I don't close the wound, and I'll die if I do close it.
It is true. Now do you see the perils of accepting a demonic gift? No matter how much power the Abyss gives you, that power will always be tainted by lies and misfortune. This is the justice I promised you. The right to know the whole truth, and not to be a plaything in the hands of abyssal spawn.
You hear genuine sorrow in Imade's voice. Goddess, you help me cleanse my soul of the influence of the Abyss.
Arilu has planted a piece of the Abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads.
Well, now I'm finally starting to understand the rules of this game.
Yes. The power that Nahindrian crystals grant you will bring about nothing but your own demise. The branches of the Tree of Sin are vast and verdant, but its only fruit is death. You will not be able to save yourself unless you reject everything that has been foisted upon you. Now you know everything.
No, we're not quite finished with the revelations yet. Few secrets remain to be revealed, but they will be worth the wait.
Rilu's voice rings with surprising, somewhat feral delight.
Does this look familiar? Do you remember the similar wound above your own heart? I have given you enough hints. Come on, ask me the question I have been waiting for.
The flick of the witch's wrist, something changes in her. The veil has fallen, once so thin that it was almost invisible, which had clouded your vision nonetheless. And I could see what was hidden before. A deep open wound above Rilu's heart. The wound pulsates as blood drips from it. I received my wound because you, Rilu, implanted the essence of the abyss in my soul when you expanded the world wound. My question is, why do you have a similar wound? Could it be because you used your own soul as a key when you first opened the world wound?
That's right. And this means that the world wound actually has 2 keys.
A smile dawns on Rilu's face, approving and triumphant.
Good question. Just imagine. I have wasted so much time chasing the key to the world wound, and the key was right under my nose this whole time. Rilu, my love, come over here.
Articula looks at Rilu with fresh eyes, predatory curiosity written on her face. Rilu does not look like someone who's been cornered. Without a trace of fear, she gives you a faint nod, then makes a barely discernible gesture with her hand, and disappears as if she were never even here.
Wait, I said wait! That little bitch. I knew she would betray me sooner or later, but I never expected such an idiotic stunt. But everything seems to be falling into place quite nicely. You see, you don't have to die after all. Rilu opened the world wound, and Rilu will be the one who closes it, whether she likes it or not. Although, someone will need to catch her first, and this will require certain powers.
Articula smiles at you sweetly.
Yes, Rilu Vorlesh will pay for her crimes with her life. Her flight confirms that our suppositions were correct. But now we know that the world wound can be sealed with her blood. You have no reasons to remain indebted to the Abyss and indulge the Queen of the Succubi. Reject her gift, and secure your victory while being the person you were before Rilu Vorlesh corrupted you. Win as a mortal, and become a legend among mortals.
She's talking rubbish. True, we gave you the power, but it was you who chose how to wield it. It belongs to you, and it will remain yours, so you can do whatever you want with it. But first, you must use it to close the world wound. You aren't going to catch this world's most powerful witch, and a half-demon one at that, with your bare hands, are you?
That's the plan. Both the goddess and the demon lord stare at you expectantly. Before I make my decision, I want to ask Amade some questions.
Ask, and you shall have your answers.
You gain your own power from the Starstone. How's my power any different?
My ascension was not accomplished in one day, and even the test of the Starstone was only one of its stages. I did not merely gain power, I embraced a sacred duty. Your power, on the other hand, stems not from long hours of study, not from trials. It is not the natural talent you were born with and carefully honed throughout your life. It is the result of an evil soul's deranged experiment with the blood of dead abyssal lords.
You imprison entire hosts of angels inside the Wardstones. Why did you do that to them?
Every one of my angels volunteered for that mission. They all knew what kind of watch they were going to keep. They knew that it would be a hard and exhausting battle, but that the lives of mortals throughout Golarion would depend on it. Alas, angels' minds can be as fragile as the minds of mortals. In less than 100 years, many wavered, and wished to break the oath they had sworn. I do not blame them. I blame myself for allowing them to take on a burden that was too heavy for them.
Did you send your herald to follow me into the Abyss? Or did he go of his own free will?
He acted on his own noble impulse, and I did not stop him. I also did not try to dispel his misconception about you being my chosen one. I do not lie. But both celestial beings and mortals can be mistaken.
She doesn't lie, sure. She merely withholds some of the truth. For the noblest of reasons, of course.
The demon grins. You know what happened to your herald?
My herald, my loyal companion, was captured. And now demons are using him to attack Drezen. They're holding him in the Ivory Labyrinth, Baphomet's realm of the Abyss. It is a place I cannot go, not even to save my faithful friend. For doing so would start an interplanar war.
Deep grief flashes across the goddess's stern face.
Right now, as we speak, Baphomet's servants are torturing the hand of the Inheritor. Tormented and anguished, he reaches for you with his thoughts and his soul. I cannot tell if he sees you as a great unfulfilled hope or a last chance. But Baphomet knows well how to exploit such desperate yearning. He has turned my herald into a source of power to open temporary portals. They do not last long, but they lead from the dungeon where the hand of the Inheritor suffers, right to your doorstep. Baphomet does not need to lead his armies through the rifts. Now he can send them right here. As long as my poor herald remains in the hands of that monster, this will not stop. I cannot say if it is still possible to save him, or if putting him out of his misery is the only way. I cannot openly ask you to intervene. But if you decide to do so, you will be helping both yourself and the one who chose the martyr's path when he followed you into the abyss.
Ever since I acquired these powers, everyone has believed me to be Amade's chosen. Why didn't you do anything to dispel this misunderstanding?
At first, I did not know who you were, or where your powers originated. This was revealed to me only when my herald offered up his dying prayer from the depths of the abyss. And following his desperate plea, I sought to confirm my suspicions. Until that point, I had observed you without intervening. After all, your crusade was securing victories, the first Golarion had seen in many years, so even if it was not I who had sent you into battle, it felt unfair to undermine you.
In other words, our Imperial guest had no problem with your power, as long as she didn't know where it came from. She didn't even share her suspicions with her own herald. And after all that, someone dares to claim that demons are the most deceitful creatures?
You should not blame someone else if you base your accusations on vague suspicions rather than solid proof. You call my behavior deceitful. You, of all creatures, who kept the commander ignorant of the fate you had chosen for him? Indeed, the insolence of demons knows no bounds.
The Demon Lord stands before you. Why don't you destroy her right here and now?
I could. But then every other demon lord would decide that he or she was next and stand against me. In response to that, the Imperial Lords would take up arms. Then Hell, Heaven, and Elysium would join the conflict. A war would break out, one which mortals could not hope to survive.
Why have you decided to descend to the world of mortals at this particular moment?
As I have already said, I am here to open your eyes to Nocticula's lies and to prevent more calamities in the future. You are at a crossroads now. I will not force you to do anything, but you needed to learn the truth and have the chance to cleanse yourself.
She seems pretty intent on withholding information. I wonder if there's anything she's withholding from us now. Why did Aurelia do everything possible to lead us to the idea that she was a key too?
The impulses that drive a soul as black as hers are beyond my comprehension. Perhaps she was startled by my arrival and decided not to bother keeping a secret that was bound to be revealed. Or perhaps she is up to some cunning scheme. Be on your guard. The architect of the World Wound will surely try to bring you down. For if she truly is a key, then it must mean that she will die sooner or later due to the influence of her own horrible creation. And that means that sacrificing you is her only chance of survival.
Explain it to me again. How exactly can you help me cleanse myself of the influence of the Abyss?
Aurilu has planted a piece of the Abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads.
So that's the exact same dialogue as before. I have no more questions.
It is time to make your decision then.
Articula, I have some questions for you.
If you have questions, ask away.
Why did you try to hide the fact that closing the world wound would kill me?
Because if I'd told you the truth, you would have refused to do it. But you're not angry with me, are you? After all, everything has worked out perfectly fine. We found another key. So now you can live and enjoy your life. Provided that you catch Aurilu, of course.
Articula gives you a sweet smile. Now that we decided to use Aurilu to close the world wound, do you still want me to keep the powers I acquired from her?
Of course I do. Firstly, you'll need those powers to catch Aurilu and bring her to Threshold. Surely you don't think she'll willingly fall into your hands, and the demonic hordes will politely make way for you. And secondly, the powers Aurilu gave you protect you from dying before your time. None of us want the wound to kill you prematurely.
Articula flashes a predatory grin at you.
You are extremely useful to me alive. After all, if you let Aurilu slip through your fingers, we can always go back to the original plan for closing the wound.
Aurilu deliberately led us to the idea that she was a key too. Why?
Apparently, she understood that her secret was about to be revealed anyway, so she decided to leave in style. What human female over 100 years old wouldn't feel flattered at being the center of attention? Although she could have other reasons. She obviously wanted us to understand everything and immediately rush off in pursuit of her. She's probably been preparing for a war of all against all for a long time, and now she wants to wage it on her own terms. Expect treachery and traps wherever you go.
Articula shrugs. Where could Aurilu have fled to?
No, let's think. She's hidden in the Abyss before. She won't dare to return there now. Not only to my realm, but to any other either. Even if Baphomet and Discari both take it upon themselves to guard Aurilu personally, that won't stop me from sneaking in, slitting her throat, and leaving undetected. And she knows that.
Articula taps her manicured claw on her chin.
If I were her, I would hide in a place where the powers of her enemies were uncertain, and her own power was close to unlimited. I say you should look for her here, in the world wound.
Aren't you afraid to stand in the presence of the goddess?
Tut tut, how rude! I wouldn't say the girl is that hideous. I admit her face is far from perfect. Her body too, to be honest. But all in all, not bad. I've seen worse.
Articula pointedly looks Amade up and down.
Your theatrics are too transparent to offend me, demon. At least, they can hardly offend me more than the very fact of your existence.
You really plan to use me to become a goddess yourself?
That is nothing but the wild speculation of a little girl who gained celestial power through no merit of her own, and now fears that others may do the same, forcing her to share her place in the spotlight. Do I want to become a goddess? Of course I do. Who wouldn't? Can you help me with that? Sadly, no. Of course, Aurilu used to blather on about how her brilliant invention could bake gods like pies. But between you and me, the cleverer the inventor, the larger their ego becomes. So far, she hasn't managed to create anything stronger than you. And, no offense, but you're no match for any deity.
Yet. I have no more questions.
Very well. It's time for you to make your decision then.
want to ask my companions for advice. What do you think about all this?
Perhaps your power came from the abyss, but your beautiful soul has cleansed it of all evil. Don't reject this power, for you have already proved that you are worthy of it.
Where's Ivu at?
I enjoy feeling mythic power within me. But my life was perfectly fine before it. So it is up to you to decide.
Being around you is so much fun. The whole world is ablaze. War is raging, but even those who are on the verge of dying smile when they see you. This power is good. Perhaps it was evil before, but you have made it good. Don't throw it away.
As a cave monster who's going to grow old and die in about 10 years' time, I can tell you this. There's no power in the world that's worth selling yourself out to the abyss for. Being the invincible companion of the magical commander was fun and all, but we don't need it. It doesn't really matter how much magic they've heaped on you. You're the commander because you have the heart and mind of a true commander. Screw your power. Don't betray yourself. That way, we'll win.
Alright, so that's kind of 2 and 2. Camellia is very neutral. Bruce and Ember are in favor of keeping the power. Lena's against it.
I don't see any reason for deliberation. Your power is chaotic and capricious, and it originates from a demonic source. I doubt you can even control it. Heed the words of the goddess. Reject it. And then we will hunt down Marilu Vorlesh and deliver the punishment she deserves.
Alright, so 2 and 2 and 1 useless opinion.
It's not my place to gainsay the will of my goddess, but the thing is, I can sense evil. And I don't sense it in your power at all. I just don't. Whatever those horned monsters had planned for you, you definitely aren't playing by their rules.
Hila looks a little confused, but her voice is firm. Alright, I'm going to disregard her opinion altogether as well, because her ability to sense evil is in question.
You gave hope to the Crusaders in their darkest hour, even when all seemed lost and only despair and death lay ahead. With these powers, you have saved countless lives, and you will save more. Of course you must keep them.
That's 3 and 2 and 2 useless opinions.
Someone pinch me. We are standing in the presence of the most pompous goddess in the world, debating whether we should listen to her or send her packing along with her invaluable opinions. I shall remember this moment for the rest of my life. Even as I stand in Pharasma's court, I shall tell this story to anyone who will listen.
Alright, make that 3 useless opinions.
As for your question, by all means, tell her to go to the abyss. The power is yours, and yours alone.
Alright, so 4 and 2, and still 2 useless opinions.
I hate it when they corner you and demand answers out of you. But fine, I'll tell you what I think.
Woljif casts a sideways glance at Iomade and winces.
With you, I've always had my freedom, Chief, so I'll speak freely. Be who you are, and don't count on gifts from nobody. You gave me the same advice back in Alishanira, remember? And I've never regretted following it. Maybe you won't have the powers you had before, but do you really need somebody's permission to do what you want to do? That's what it's all about.
Alright, 4, 3, and 2.
Experience tells me that it's wiser to trust yourself and your own abilities. You can't trust what clients tell you. One day you're a hero, the next you're working for the enemy. Sorry, but it all looks like a setup to me. First they tell you to lay down your weapons, and then, once you're unarmed, they finish you off in some back alley.
So 5, 3, and 2.
Your powers are interesting from a theoretical point of view. You are an experiment started by Arilu Vorlesh, and terminating it before it is complete would be foolish, not to mention impolite.
6, 3, and 2. I assume Wundawag would also be on the side of keeping your powers. 1, because that's her personality, and 2, it would also be the opposite of Lan. They're supposed to be opposites of each other. Alright, I've made my decision.
I am waiting for your answer. I hope you will choose wisely.
My wisdom stat isn't the highest.
Quite right. Make your choice, and make it the right one.
Boom. Legend. One doesn't need to be a mythic creature, an otherworldly being, or a deity's chosen to become a hero. This path may be grueling and full of temptation, but the mortal who treads it fully earns the right to call themselves a true legend. This has been the plan all along. I was split at one point how to stick with Azada, but I think there's another class that'd be better to stick with the Mazada mythic path through to the end. But yeah, ever since they revealed Legend as one of the paths, that has been the plan since the game was announced, essentially. Or I guess since the mythic paths were announced. So here we go. So we got Legend. Now the path to becoming a legend is a long and difficult one. After you become one, you'll be the pinnacle of what a mortal can become. All your ability scores will be increased by 4. Your level cap will become 40, and you can still only gain 20 levels in one character class. The amount of XP needed to level up will be drastically increased, or decreased. And Legend's Corruption Resistance. Legend's powers are beyond the abyssal corruption's reach. The Legend and all companions can rest up to 5 times after the Legend had cleared the corruption from themselves at a safe place. The choice is made. All you have to do is announce it to everyone. Iomedae, I accept your help. Strip me of my powers, and help me to cleanse myself of the influence of the Abyss.
What adorable overconfidence. We'll see how you deal with Arilu without the powers she gave you, and then you'll have to fight your way through the armies of 2 demon lords. But wait, will your powers even let you go? Will you be able to get rid of them even with the help of your Imperial guest?
Do not listen to her. Turn to yourself. You are a mortal. That is your weakness, but that is also where your strength lies. Think about it. Who are you? Your soul, your mind, your body. Which of your sides reflects your true self? Put your trust in yourself. Find your strength. And strike at the abyss in your heart as hard as you can.
You can do it! No matter how dark your soul may be, you can always change. I know this better than anyone.
Your light engulfs you. It penetrates you to your core. For the first time in your life, you can see yourself on full display. Your body, your mind, and your soul. You see the shadow of the abyss that pervades you. By granting you powers, irrevocably altering you at the same time. You realize that this clarity will be short-lived. This is your first and last chance to become an ordinary mortal again. The shadow of the abyss has entangled you, bonded with you, but it hasn't consumed you entirely. Flashing before your eyes are the moments where you rebelled against it, when you gave in to the temptation. Taking the book into Rilu's laboratory, then refusing to take the essence from her hands. And then, the moment when you suppress your power, not allowing it to fall upon Drezen. This bond is not as strong as it may seem. Okay, so it looks like maybe there's... Had I accepted the power from Arilu in Elution Ira, these would probably be higher and harder to pass. Yeah, and suppressing our power here, so when we confronted the demons in the courtyard, I think that's another time when this would have made this harder as well. Rely on the force of your personality. Charm the power away. We're going to do this. Rely on your physical power. You strain your muscles, every part of your body, unleash a crushing blow on the shadow of the abyss that has been with you for so many years. Gain 9 whole experience for that. Pain. Incredible pain. Part of your soul breaks off and melts away, fading into the void. You feel your power leaving you, giving way to something new. Something unknown, unimaginable, and at the same time, something not borrowed from any gods or demons. Something that belongs to you, and you alone.
So now I'm surrounded by nothing but pathetic mortals? Then I won't waste any more of my time.
Congratulations. You have stepped onto the path of cleansing. It will not be easy, but there you will find what the Abyss tried to steal from you. Your true self. I will help you with your first steps. You must go to the places where the power forced on you manifested itself and grew inside your soul. Start with the rift in the Midnight Fane. Once you are there, you will understand what to do next. And now, I bid you farewell.
The fanfares trumpet once again, and the goddess disappears in a flash of blinding light. I was hoping that after speaking to the Storyteller, the game wasn't going to shoehorn me into confronting the demons outside the Citadel. In a much more appropriately length episode. There we go, I can talk. I was trying to add an extra syllable to appropriately. I say like appropriatedly, which is not how that's said. I assume we're not done talking either.
I tire.
Ivo shifts anxiously from paw to paw, a sad expression on her little face. There's something I have to tell you. After you talked with that very stern goddess and the other one, that very mean demoness, something changed. I'm losing my power. I think I'll become a regular little dragon again soon. But of course, I'm not at all angry with you for giving up your Azada power. The others aren't angry either, even if they can no longer be free crusaders. Our island no longer fly. Did it fall back? Like, did it just come crashing back down to the earth? Oh well. Our island no longer flies. No more magical things happen there. It's so sad. If I lose all my power, I won't be able to help you fight demons anymore. We'll always stay friends, won't we? Of course, Ivu. We'll always remain friends. Ivu sobs, unable to stop herself. I think you're very clever, and you made the right decision. I still need some time to be sad in silence. When I'm sad, I don't talk. This is how sadness works for me. Gerber looks very serious. He speaks quietly, but he doesn't want to be overheard. Commander, you and I need to go to a very important meeting. I'd like to tell you more. I'm afraid I can't give you any further details. You'll just have to trust me. We need to go to the Dry Crossroads. It's not far from Drezen, but you and I will have to go alone. No one else is allowed at this meeting. Let me know when you're ready to travel. I can assure you that this meeting is very important. That straight up sounds like he's gonna betray me. Greyboard gives you a sly wink and mouths silently. It will be interesting. What is this meeting about? Greyboard shrugs. I can't tell you that. You'll just have to trust me. This is a matter of great importance. Greyboard coughs loudly into his fist, and his fingers swiftly form a series of gestures used by thieves, assassins, and other silent hunters. Its message is clear. Danger. Arm yourself. Alright, so he's not going to betray me. Is this meeting really that important? I wouldn't have bothered you with it otherwise, Commander. I cannot give you any further details, because this meeting must be kept secret. But trust me, it is important. Gerber glances around warily. He tugs at his earlobe, and he recognizes the coded signal. It is a sign used by criminals and killers to mean, danger. Others are listening. Why can't we meet in Drezen? I'm worried about prying eyes and curious ears. It'd be difficult to arrange a secret meeting in the city. Wink at Greyboar. I think it's time for us to leave. Greyboar smiles slightly. There's an eager gleam in his eyes. Yes, I think so, Commander. It'll be a long trip. I'll try to keep you entertained with small talk. The dwarf's eyes shine with anticipation. His cryptic smile speaks volumes. There's clearly something he wants to tell you. Nebia's clothes are dirty, and her face and hands are smeared with dust. She uses the broom she's holding to offer you a cheery salute. Nothing to it. A couple days and the city is as good as new. The streets have been cleaned. All the ashes left from the demons have been swept away. We've patched up the fortifications. We got guards on the walls, and you in charge. It's almost like the good old days. Speaking of good old days, you're only gone 6 months. Right now it feels like decades have passed. Life in Canabras before Discari's attack feels like ancient history. Innocent days when we were all worried about some demons and cultists here and there. Not demon lords and deities vying to pay us a visit. Now what's the situation at the front? Unknown. Her Majesty mustered all the troops she could, raised a sword of valor, and advanced on the demons. There's been no word from her since she left. Perhaps she's boldly taking eyes even now. Maybe her bones have already been picked clean by demons. We don't know. I doubt anybody except you will be able to find out. But that's not all. Baphomet's minions keep taking swipes at us. The scumbags are holed up somewhere. The Ivory Labyrinth, I'll bet. And they keep opening portals in different spots, dropping off a dozen units, and then closing the portal before we can get to them. We lost more scouts than I'd care to admit before we figured out how they were pulling off that little trick. Here's what I'm thinking. Maybe you could go to one of these portals in time. You could be ready for them somehow. So that when one opens, you get inside and crack some skulls. They might even be holding the poor Herald in there. If he's alive, you could free him. How do you feel after seeing the goddess in the flesh? My ears are still ringing from those trumpets. After witnessing that sight, I don't think I could be surprised by anything ever again. As you just heard, I have to catch a Rilu. Any idea where I should look for her? Not especially. She's been roaming the Abyss all this time, but now that avenue's closed to her. Nauticula and the other demon lords are all slavering for a piece of her. I think she's someplace around here, in the Wound. Some nasty little place like Eyes. Or maybe she went as far as Threshold. So, Drezen's under control. Neighbor waves her hand in a vague gesture. Generally speaking, yeah. As under control as a city can be, when it's got no people in it, and only 2 days ago it was crawling with demons. I don't think you want me to paint you a rosy picture, so I'll tell it like it is. Things still ain't looking all that good for us. Supplies are running short, and there are hardly any soldiers left to defend this place. But the city's standing. That's what counts. This war ain't over yet. An entire army of demons enhanced by Nahindran crystals is being sent here. No, it wasn't. It's being sent to, Polura. It's being led by a demon named Mutasafin. Do you know anything about that? Scouts reported the movements of a large demon army far to the southwest of Drezen. They are marching across a dried-out lake. There used to be a Sarkorian holy place there, I heard. Where they went, nobody knows. They're not headed for us, that's for sure. At least not yet. Thank you for the report. I'll be setting off without delay. As a commander we know and love, you go knock him flat. Only, I know you're a big deal in all these days, with the goddess herself paying you house calls. But still, taking on Threshold is more than even you can handle on your own. So don't go forgetting about us humble mortals. We can still be of use to you. Since people heard you're alive and fighting again, new volunteers have been coming to Drezen. Not many so far. My gut tells me you'll have a decent army behind you before long. Once the way to the heart of the Wound is clear, come back to us. Come back so you can lead us into the final battle. And Nevia wavers. Irabeth. She's out there somewhere, on the front lines. Find her for me, please. If she's alive, help her come back to me. And if... She shakes her head. No. She's alive. I know it. She's too darn stubborn to die before the final victory. We're both gonna tear the demons to shreds and come back here. Together. Regil looks slightly more tense than usual. Don Quixote, I have fairly important news. I'll do my best to be brief. Donite orders have not reacted well to the developments I mentioned in my latest report, specifically regarding the true source of your power. The very notion that we have been cooperating with the weapons forged by Rilu Vorlesh and Octicula has caused discontent. The orders have not issued any official edicts, but many chapters and high-ranking knights have been recalled from their assignments and barricaded themselves in one of our outposts. The one you know, in fact. I suggest you go there and resolve the issue between the Orders and the Crusaders. This is a matter of importance. How could you even think that reporting this to the Orders would be a good idea? You really think I could withhold this information from my superiors? Do not degrade me or yourself with such a ridiculous suggestion. What kind of reaction should I expect from the Hell Knights? Any. up to and including a formal declaration of war, which is why you must go to the outpost and resolve the issue before it devolves into open conflict. Very well. I'll go there as soon as possible. Excellent. That is all I had to report, so I will return to my duties. You may attend to your other affairs. Oh my goodness, it doesn't stop. Don Quixote. The succubus gazes at you despondently. Joy speaks quietly, but now her voice is a barely audible whisper. In my dream, a fire destroyed almost everything. The only thing that survived was a table. I returned to my dream world so many times. The nightmare still lurks there. I want to understand why this table is so important. Why did it survive the fire? I can't figure out what makes it special. Looks like a simple piece of furniture. It just stands there. What is it supposed to mean? What am I doing wrong? Haven't we already done this? Is your nightmare still attacking you? Not openly. It still lurks in the shadows, gnawing at my soul from within. It never leaves me alone, but hasn't tried to fight me again. Would you like to enter your dream again? I don't think that will help. We've already been there together, and no, it must be something else. I must look at it from a different side. How do you find the other side of a dream? The other side of a dream is called reality. Perhaps this table represents something that you were supposed to do in real life. You may be right. First light brightens considerably. What exactly should I do? Find a table? Buy one? Perhaps I should learn the craft of a carpenter and make one myself. So many possibilities, and I don't even know where to begin. Her excitement gives way to dismay. Perhaps Desna can help you solve this riddle. But she was the one who asked me to solve it. I don't think she's going to tell me the answer. I must find it myself. But how? Where did this table come from? Where did it come from? Rushlight considers your question. She taps her lips thoughtfully. Oh, I remember now. There's a loaf of bread on that table. That was Anevia's dream. Remember? She said she wanted to learn how to bake. The bread went up in flames along with the other fragments of her dreams, but the table remained. This table came from Anevia's dream. Perhaps you should talk to her. I've been living among mortals for a while now, but there's still so much I don't understand about your kind. How you live, what you dream about. You're right. We should ask Anevia. It is part of her dream after all. That's a good idea, but... The succubus shifts from foot to foot reluctantly. Can you please talk to her instead? I don't even know how to begin a conversation like this. It is so personal. Please ask her. I'll stay nearby. Oh. No, we're not done. Commander. The Inquisitor greets you with a bow. I am sincerely gladdened by your return. I was delighted to hear of your secret victories. It's a shame that my duty has kept me away from the front line. I'd like to take up a place in the ranks of your Crusaders, and perhaps I'll still have a chance to do so. But before that happens, we must address another issue. I suppose you've already guessed what has brought me here. We parted ways after the discovery we made at Count Arende's estate. You and I both know that the Count became a conduit for an unknown entity, which I call the Other. I retreated to Rosian, then went beyond Mendev's borders, looking for mentions of such entities and ways to fight them. Now that my search has borne fruit, I'm ready to tell you about it. Why does your search take so long? Because we're dealing with a rare phenomenon, a true anomaly. The Mendev Inquisition has amassed substantial experience in fighting demons, but here we're up against something completely different. I had to trawl through our archives, searching for cases that seemed in any way similar. I sent inquiries to friendly temples, reached out beyond our nation's borders to experts on the unknown. It was dull and painstaking work, but it was necessary. So what have you learned about the Other? I must be honest, I still don't know what it is. However, I managed to find some evidence of similar incidents. Individuals who, in a horrible moment in their life, became a gateway for an unknown entity. The most curious part is that all these cases appear almost sequential. They happen in various corners of Galarian, but no two incidents ever occurred at the same time. This leads me to think that we are dealing with a single entity, one that has been secretly present in our world for a long time, merely changing its gateways on occasion. While I do not know what this entity is, I managed to find something of great value. A Varisian arcanist. I managed to pick up the trail of the Other and invented a ritual to weaken and bind it. She died under very suspicious circumstances. Her decapitated body was found in her laboratory. Her head was never found. Her notes survived, including the description of the ritual. I discussed it with several highly esteemed experts in magic, and I am inclined to consider this a reliable weapon. We can use the ritual to lure the entity out, find it, and probably exterminate it. But to do that, I'll need your assistance, Commander. What do we need to do? We must carefully prepare the ritual, then bring Count Arendae to the designated location. The ritual will lure out the other, weaken its connection with the Count, and bind its essence to our world like an anchor. The last part is especially important. All the evidence indicates that while the gateway is active, the other can travel freely between the material plane and some unknown space that lies beyond. If we fail to bind the other with the ritual, we'll either escape or, in the worst case scenario, drag us into its realm. Hence, we must lure it out, and then, I suppose, defeat it. There is one more issue, aside from the fact that we'll have to fight this incredibly powerful and horrifying creature. The other's suspicion must not be aroused until the very last moment. And this means that the Count must know nothing as well. The best course of action would be to take the Count to the designated location without telling him the reason for the journey. Then we must frighten him, make it appear that his life is in danger. The other will believe that its gateway is in peril, and then I hope it will show up to protect it. The ritual circle will work as a trap, but it is crucial, and I stress this, that we convince the entity that we know nothing of its existence, that it is Darren who is in danger, not the entity itself. Otherwise, there's no knowing what may happen. I don't want to give the adversary any chance to outmaneuver us. Why do you think the other will appear to protect Darren? The Count has been in danger many times before, and nothing special has ever happened. You have a special connection with your companions, Commander. You shared part of your mythic powers with them. They journeyed through the abyss with you, and survived to tell the tale. I believe the other understands this. You must also understand how dangerous it would be if you were to become not a benefactor, but an enemy to its gateway. I am certain that it will react to a threat coming from you, as opposed to ordinary encounters with demons and cultists. Sorry, and I'm starting to read a little faster, but there's been a lot of reading this episode. How dangerous is it? It is extremely dangerous, which is why I've come to you with this. All the evidence I've collected on the other, in particular, the list of its victims, which include powerful demons and strong mortal mages. Let me be certain that we are dealing with something extraordinary here. It is stronger and more dangerous than Baelor's and other generals of the Abyss. I also suspect that the oracle powers the Count has developed came from the other. As a rule, only gods, imperial lords, and other extremely powerful beings are capable of granting such abilities. I know no one except for you who could challenge such an entity, so I'm asking you to help, for the safety of all who dwell on Golarion. However, I believe that we can shore up our strategic position if the other doesn't suspect we're preparing a trap until the very last moment. Even the most dangerous of creatures become more vulnerable when caught off guard. The main thing we must do is take a methodical approach and stay alert. I think that is within our abilities. So what if the spell that's supposed to bind the other to the world, what if he's going to bind it to himself? Which wouldn't make any sense, because then it could do the same thing that it's doing with Darren. Are you sure that this other is hostile toward us? In all this time, it has never tried to attack me. I am certain that this entity is dark and truly evil. The evidence in my instincts as an Inquisitor are undeniable. Wherever the other manifests itself, strange and ominous things begin to happen. In particular, I am positive that it is responsible for all the magically decapitated corpses. The ones that were found in Heaven's Edge after the tragedy, and in Canabras after Discari's attack. In both places, some of the corpses belonged to civilians and others to demons. And in Canabras, some of the victims were cultists. I'm convinced that the other is pursuing some interest of its own, and thus far, it has ruthlessly exterminated any who learn of its existence. And now, you and I know that it exists. Draw your own conclusions. If Darren is the gateway, can we just slam the gateway shut and leave the other on the other side? We can, by killing the Count. The Inquisitor answers simply. But first, I'm not sure that the other won't try to protect its gateway, and in that case, we'd have to face it unprepared. And secondly, I'm opposed to the idea in principle. Sometimes Inquisitors must make hard decisions. I've made a great many in my lifetime. For instance, I can kill a person possessed by demons, if he or she is at imminent risk of taking many lives and I have no time to perform an exorcism. But in this instance, the situation is not so critical. We have a way of fighting the other. And I will not agree to commit cold-blooded murder, not even the murder of someone as disgraceful as Count Arendelle. I'll help you. Thank you. Let's go over the entire operation once more. I'm convinced that we must lure out the others somewhere far from Drezen and other populated places to avoid civilian casualties. I've chosen a suitable location within the World Wound. I'll mark it on your map. We must bring the Count there without alerting him to what's about to happen. I assume that another foray into the World Wound will hardly raise his suspicions. I'll await you there, with the ritual circle prepared. But before we reach the crucial moment, you must make the Count and the other believe that the Count is in danger. I suppose the easiest way to do that would be to tell him that you made a deal with the Mendev Inquisition, and the Count will have to face punishment for his crimes, real or imaginary. I'll find a way to intimidate him, but you must play along. We need to provoke the other to come out to protect its gateway. That's when we finish it off once and for all. This case will be my greatest triumph, my greatest failure, but I firmly believe that it must be done. Remember my words. The other must be convinced that we are not a threat to the Count, and that we know nothing of its existence. The slightest suspicion could prove fatal for us. Until we meet again, Commander, may the gods be with us. We're still not done. Okay. A pale, ghostly image appears in front of you. Recognize Lathmus, the antiquarian, the scholar you helped some time ago. His translucent form flickers intermittently, and you have difficulty making out his words. Commander, it's Themis. I won't maintain, spell for long. Open the door. Treasure room. Please hurry. What door? What are you talking about? The door. The dragon burial ground. The bell. The caves. Remember? What? Did you manage to open the door? Yes. I won't enter without you. Waiting on your help. I'm on my way. I'll be waiting. The vision of Lathmus flickers and fades. Oh, we're still not done. Commander, you look up and see Melissa, the green-eyed fisherwoman from the village of Chili Creek. Her hair is a mess, and her face and clothes are covered in soot. It looks as though she traveled here in a hurry, but with a few dangers along the way. Help. Please help me. He's gone crazy. You will kill him. Calm down. What happened? You remember Jernoff, the cleric who came to our village a year ago. Locals weren't very welcoming to him back then. After all, he was a stranger who was preaching about a strange new god. But little by little, he became one of us. He went fishing alongside us, and he told people stories about the Crusade. He told us about meeting you, and seeing the Queen, and the songs he used to sing. Just made you want to stop and listen. Well, eventually, the fishwoman looks down. We became very close. We started to plan a wedding. My brother didn't seem to mind at first, but after we got married, well, that's when he lost it. He became violent. He threatened to hurt us. I tried to talk to him, but Melissa shakes her head sadly. We even thought about leaving the village. When my brother found out, he lost his mind completely. Markle is strong, and no one in the village dares to challenge him. It was a miracle that I managed to escape, but my husband is still there. He didn't make it out of the village. I don't know what's happened to him. Help us, please. What caused this change in Markle's behavior? Melissa looks away and replies softly. Markle really honors the village traditions. He's been worshipping the river for many generations. He was not keen on having the cleric of a foreign god in the village, but he was willing to tolerate Jernoff's presence for a while. However, my relationship with Jernoff really disappointed Markle. Especially when he discovered that I had begun to worship Aristotle too. How did you get here? By some miracle, I guess. Everything is on fire out there, and all those monsters. But never mind me. I managed to survive. I made it here in one piece. But I am in serious trouble. I have no one that I can turn to for aid. Please help me. You're my only hope. Alright, I'll help you. Thank you. I'll head back to the village. I'll do my best to keep him from flying into a rage. But please hurry. I'm afraid he might do something terrible. Alright, we're done. Whew. That's a lot of reading. Alright, next episode we're going to go around the city, explore and try to talk to people, manage some crusade affairs, and yeah, so I'll try to knock all that out in the next episode. So after that we can start doing all these quests we just got, because we have a ton of quests now. But for now, I'm going to call it here. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.